Hey.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Nod, wave your hand if you can hear me. Okay, good. Welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees for February 8th, 2021. First order of business that we're going to take is stand and pledge of allegiance. If you'd like to at home, that's fine. If not, we're going to pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is agenda review. We have a few things. We were supposed to talk about ordinances tonight, but our clerk is on the sick list tonight, so we're going to postpone the ordinance review until our March meeting. And one other thing I'd like to try to clarify from our last meeting is the Zoom meeting that we had with the people that are doing the downtown scoping study. That was just a discussion, and they were presenting us with options. We had some public participation in it, and there was no decision. There's been some misunderstanding out there from what I've heard. There was no decisions made on which plan we were going to go with, and there's going to be more public comment on that in the future. So stay in touch. We'll be announcing when the rest of the study discussion is going to be. And tonight we're going to just have an update from our economic development coordinator as to the results of that discussion at our last meeting. I hope that clarifies things. But anything else for the agenda review?
I would like an executive session for real estate.
Okay.
And then I need one for personnel.
Okay. So we're going to have an executive session after to discuss real estate and personnel and a tax account. So we have that at the end of our meeting. So next item on the agenda is public comment. Anybody have anything specific they'd like to say? Betsy?
Hi. Good evening, everyone. This is Betsy Fournier. I'm here because I wasn't on the agenda, but I know that Reg maybe have brought this up, but I'm working on writing a grant for safer access to Marble Mill Park. It's a VTrans bike ped grant. It's a small grant. There's no match to this grant. The only match is in-kind service from the Public Works Department. I am currently working on this grant. I'm still waiting on clarification from Jim Coda from the state of Vermont on the placement of the flashing beacons. I didn't really understand his response, Reg. I don't know if you could kind of help me out with that. I was unclear on if we could proceed or if he had another funding source.
I think he was alluding to he had another funding source, but I think at this point, Betsy, if you have it written or the majority of it written, I'd move forward.
Okay. I do have it. I have it started. I have received the quotes from TAPCO for the flashing beacons. That's who we used for the other flashing beacons.
Yeah.
And Lynn has given me the information I need to move forward with the in-kind from the Public Works Department, salaries and all that good stuff. The only thing is I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do all 3 of the flashing beacons because of the price of the flashing beacons being extremely expensive. But I will kind of work up a budget and see where we can go. Um, because we obviously are gonna only do the in-kind and not any sort of funding from the village.
But so what if we apply for what we can get? You know, obviously, if we can't get it all, they may give us partial. And then if
Yeah.
Jim has an option for the remainder, maybe by that time we'll know.
Yeah, hopefully. So in kind of moving forward, I have been redeployed back to the vaccination clinic. So my hours are a little limited, but this is one of my top priorities to finalize. This grant is actually due February 17th, I believe at 1 p.m. So I will proceed with this part of, this is top priority for me. So I just wanted you to be aware of that.
You have everything from me that you need?
I have everything from you and I have everything I need from Lynn and to create a budget. So I should be fine. But if I need anything else, I'll definitely email you guys. So I
Okay.
appreciate your help. That's all I got.
Right, that's it. Anybody else like to say something or Heather?
I just want to comment on what Betsy had to say, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to do that grant. Marble Mill is a special place for my family, and I appreciate you working hard to make it safer for our community.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. I did want to add one more thing. The Swanton Recreation Department is doing a skate day on Saturday. I believe it's from 1 to 3. So we did install the skating rink at the Swanton Recreation Department. And the reason why we put it at the Swanton Recreation Department and not in the Village Green was because if the governor changes any sort of guidelines, we wanted to make sure that we could closely monitor that. But it is open and social distancing as masking is required at all events and anytime you're present at the rec department. So I just wanted people to know that. And it looks like we're going to be able to start basketball for our youth itty bitty through 4th grade starting on Tuesday and Thursdays. It's all fundamentals and masking, and we're following all the guidelines the state has provided us with. And the Swanton Armory has graciously offered their space for us. So we're really excited about having the opportunity for our local youth.
All right, good deal. So, anybody else like to say anything under public comment?
I think, so when you had mentioned earlier about the clarification on the downtown scoping study, I'm going to share this screen here. I know, Don, you're on the phone, but hang on, I got to share this first. So Don had an idea, and I just wanted to present what he suggested. So it looks like his suggestion is this section here where the library is, he's suggesting to make that a one-way. And then coming down First Street, we'd have to relocate the utility pole here. But he's thinking about moving trucks and traffic out this way and then down Canada to out of town, reduce the truck traffic one way in this area, from trucks coming down this way and making that turn.
Is that over by Duncan?
No,
No,
that's
this,
by the old TD Bank building.
Oh, gotcha.
so there's the notches here.
Okay.
Yeah. But just this one section right where you got the St. Marie's is here, or actually here.
Yeah.
This just one section between this block of Grand and York, he's suggesting a one-way.
That was proposed in 1999 when they did a study, a traffic study downtown.
They did back then too.
Yeah, they disproved it after the study. But yeah, that was looked at back then.
But-
One of the thoughts that I had about that was, again, these are just ideas, but to do a diagonal across that lot with the truck, in other words, run up until York and then turn it at a 45-degree angle over to First Street. So you probably have to move with the bank building or something, but at least
All right here.
it moves that traffic line. That's one of the things that rather than cutting up the park, but finding a way to make the trucks move smoothly. And also, somewhere in that report, it needs to document that we talked about a truck route on the west side of 78, a road from 78 over to 89, specifically to get the trucks moving back and forth. If you Google Earth and look at that, there's a path. Yes, it involves a bridge. Yes, it probably involves wetlands, but it ought to at least be laid out there, and then perhaps could be rejected for those reasons. But it documents that was thought about, that was idea was brought up, and it was told.
Like I said, there's going to be more discussion on this when the scope and study team comes back, so we can specify it at that point. So, okay.
Okay. That was the only one that I had a conversation with Don, and I told him I'd bring that one forward, so I do have it.
Okay.
Thank you, Don, for that.
Anybody else have anything to say on the public comment? Gordon? No?
Okay, how are you?
Good, go ahead.
I was just watching you talk about that.
Not hearing you, Gordon.
If there's any more public comment, I think VHB is still taking some public comment. If anyone wants to email, I'm on that committee, and I think Elizabeth can correct me if I'm wrong. I think they would still take any public comment on the traffic study for another till the end of this week. So if anyone has anything, they might want to send it off to Elizabeth.
That is correct. They have until February 12th.
True, Elizabeth?
Yes, they have until February 12th to make public comments.
Okay, thank you.
So there's still plenty of time if people didn't make the meeting that they can watch the replay and make any public comment that they may want.
Okay.
I do know I shared it with our public works guys too, because obviously they move snow in and out there and around, and they liked the alternative one.
Yeah.
The green spaces and stuff. They didn't like alternative 2 because it had a sidewalk that went in front of where the delineators are now. Right. And they said they've seen cars coming up over the top of the hill and slide right into that snowbank.
Yeah.
So they said that it's too close to the road to put a sidewalk right there. But they liked alternative 1 for ease of pedestrians, the crosswalks, and the movement in the snow.
Okay.
So.
Good. At least we're getting some input on it. That's great. So,
I was going to show that tonight, but we can wait and do it.
okay, is that it for public comment? Anybody else like to say anything? If not, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda is to approve and accept the minutes from our Monday, January 25th, 2021 meeting. Have a copy of those in your packet. What's your pleasure on the minutes?
I'll move they be approved as written.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve and accept our minutes from the Monday, January 25th meeting. Any discussion, corrections, deletions?
Very good.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion is carried. The minutes are approved. Item number 6, approve and accept the village warrants through Friday, February 5th, 2021. You also have a copy of those in your packets. What's your pleasure on the warrants?
I would move we accept number 8 through number 12.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve and accept the warrants 8 through 12. Any discussion on them? Questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? That motion is carried, except the village warrant. Next up this evening, our economic development coordinator, Elizabeth Nance, is going to give us an update on our downtown scoping study and the umbrella program. Good evening, Elizabeth.
Hi there. So I just got home. I apologize. I got a couple of frisky cats. So if they make their appearance, pardon them. So I just wanted to thank the trustees. I know everybody was there in Reg, and everybody who attended the alternatives meeting on the 17th. There were 33 unique participants. That includes panelists. So we thought that that was a nice turnout. I know that some people who wanted to attend were not able to. As Heather mentioned, Northwest Access has it. I have a link if people are interested in watching the whole presentation. Let me know and we can get you that information. It is long. I think it went an hour and a half. So it is a rather lengthy presentation, but it was a good discussion, lots of good comments. Feel free to call or email me if you have some constructive comments or suggestions. Again, Karen at VHB is taking comments until February 12th, which should be Friday. So we look forward to any other comments. I know that there has been some comments on social media that are not necessarily constructive, or there's some miscommunication. So I've had some conversations with folks that to kind of ease some concerns. I know parking is the biggest concern that people have. And one thing that was not communicated well is that the green spaces the places that were green on the slides are not necessarily green spaces. That was just the color that they chose to show the areas that would not be utilized. And I know that the area in front of Scampers and the laundromat in particular, and I talked to them about that because I don't know why I didn't realize that they were losing as many spaces, particularly as they were going to. That is a safety, because of safety pulling out into traffic. And as traffic professionals, they felt that they had to show the safest alternatives, and that would be to lose those parking spaces. We, as a community, can decide to do that or not, but it's their job to present the safest alternatives, and that's what they did. So again, as Reg, I think, mentioned, nothing is written in stone. We have lots of time to make decisions, and this is just a study. It doesn't necessarily mean that any of these alternatives are going to happen, although that's the point of this, is that we do use this as a living document to move forward. So I just kind of want to stress that we still have a long way to go in the process, particularly before we get to design and construction, but that these are kind of a menu option of things that we can use to move forward. And in conjunction, we have applied for funds, of course, what's called the Better Places grant, to do demonstration project like we did for a week, but we would do this for a couple, 3 months to test out some of the suggestions longer term that came out of the scoping study. So if you want to try reverse angle parking, we'll give it a try, let people see how it works. And then we say, okay, we like it, or no, we don't like it, that kind of thing. Now, having said that, 63 applications were received for funds totaling more than $1 million, and they got 90,000 to spend. So it's a highly competitive, but we think we have a good opportunity to get some funds to do that, because I remain.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
just a sec. didn't we give VHB our downtown study that was done back in 91? Didn't they
Yeah,
have a copy of that?
2001, yes, they do have a copy of
2001?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, just,
I thought it made sense for them to have a good place, to know what we've considered in the past, and some of the work that was done by Lamoureux and Dickinson, who is doing the MBU sidewalk, funnily enough. So anyway, I just wanted to give a broad, the next kind of public engagement will be with VHB sometime late March, early April. We have to get through the elections and the informational meeting, and they have to put all the comments and everything together in a draft report. So that will be late March, early April is when they will present the draft report, including everybody's input and suggestions. So look forward to that. We'll get that information out to folks as we get a better date when that's going to happen.
Okay.
Any questions, comments on that one?
Chris again. I mentioned it before, but somewhere in that report, please talk about how a truck route bypass from 78 west to 89 would alleviate the trucks. I know that's outside the scope, but we need to get people thinking about that again. That would change the whole dynamic of the downtown traffic. If those hundreds of multi-axle trucks didn't have to go through town. It seems like that's a logical piece that ought to at least be mentioned.
Okay, and you were right, it is outside the scope. They will, I can certainly have them mention that and what the effect would be on the downtown, because as I have mentioned, you lose the trucks, you're going to lose the cars. And we don't want to lose the cars. That's the biggest concern, is people have a bypass, they're going to go around and they're going to take everybody with them.
I think in the 2001 study it was there too, but I think Chris's point, just want to have it mentioned in this report as well.
Sure. And it is outside the scope, so I will mention that they were specifically hired to look at the downtown, but I can certainly have them note that is an option. That
and I thought the idea of this was safety, and that would mean I personally nearly been run over a couple of times by those trucks trying to get to the post office, trying to cross over to the Ace Hardware. I mean, it would be remiss if you didn't at least mention it.
Okay, and I can certainly have them do that. The other thing I am here for is the BRELA application, and I'm not prepared to talk about that tonight. So I asked that we talk about that at the next appropriate meeting in March. All the deadlines and everything have been pushed back. I will say that this is in regard to the Riviera Hotel project with the brownfields. Greta Brunswick and I from Greta Brunswick at Northwest Regional Planning Commission and I met with Christy, who is with Department of Environmental Conservation. They're the ones who run the BRELA program. And basically that program, once you enter it, removes the liability of having a brownfield site. So if, let's say, you're allowed to have X number of parts per million, but they change that. So now you have brownfields. If you're in the program, you're grandfathered in. If they decide to add something as a hazardous material and they find it on your site, you're grandfathered in. So it just removes some of the liability issues from that site if some regulations change. And it gets you priority points and allows you to apply for certain funding. So there is a $500 non-refundable application fee. She thought that the project was a really good project and had a really good chance of getting into the program. But that's kind of the broad reminder of where we are with that. But I'll have the application and talk more about that at the next appropriate meeting, if you don't mind.
They also, I think, just to make a point, they also said that that's kind of like the golden ticket for anybody who wants to purchase that. That it's been through the litmus test of the umbrella program. So it releases liability from us and then it gives them basically go for it.
And it does follow the property. So if when you sell that property, it follows the property, it doesn't belong to you. So thank you, Reg, for reminding me to clarify that.
Does that mean we do not have to go through Brownsfield?
No, you're still in Brownfield and you still have to do the cleanup. It just means that if the regulatory, it just marks it as a clean property once you've gone through the cleanup, and they can't come back and say, oh, the regulations have changed, so now you have to do additional cleanup. Once you're signed off on, regardless of whether the regulations have changed or not.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Elizabeth, is there any deadlines that have to be met with that program?
It's a rolling program, and the application should be done prior to, and should be in more ways than one, done prior to any work being done. But I don't think we're at that point anyway. Which does remind me that as you know, the village is applying for funds to the USDA Rural Development to do the Brownfield Phase 2 at 30,000. That deadline has been moved back to March 31st.
Good.
Well, that was that was my thought, because that's a long application. So there's a lot of parts to that. That's mainly anytime you ask for federal funds, you have to fill out the same paperwork. So that process is moving forward, but the deadline was moved to March 31st. Because the deadline was February 26th. So it's a little more than a month to give us some opportunity. Greta did say that she has some petroleum funds. We just need to figure out if we have any petroleum discharge on that property, and it's hard to tell under a foot of snow. So we have that option as well.
I mean, if there's a couple of underground storage tanks.
If they're petroleum, yeah.
Chances are there's probably a little bit, but there's not like a service station.
If we can even find it, because I don't know that we know for sure if it's there and where it is. Because I think the Phase 1 just noted that there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but it was kind of like everybody knows it's there somewhere. But I don't know that we actually know that for a fact.
I know I've done some research on that. I think I know if it's still there. I know approximately where it is.
Okay.
But we're not positive of it, like you say yet.
So it may or may not be an issue, and we'll find that out as we get to Phase 2.
Yeah, Phase 2 will definitely let us know if there's still a tank there.
Right. That's all I have.
You all set, Elizabeth?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. I do have one more quick thing.
okay. Go
Buy
ahead.
local for Valentine's Day.
What?
Buy local for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Okay.
Not gonna tell you what I heard.
So,
I can tell you, I've been watching the website for Maple City Candy, and every time I watch it, I drool. So I think I may have to make a trip.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. The next item we had was about the ordinances, but Diane doesn't have that with us.
You folks received the copies then of the updates and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
We received an email of the newly drafted ordinances, and we'll take care of that at our next meeting, March. So next item that I can see is any other necessary business? Adam?
Just one quick thing. If you're a snowplow driver, the speed limit's 30 through the village, not 50.
But now, would you be mentioning a village truck?
No.
Okay. And it's sort of something they should be careful about, but how are we gonna get word out to them?
We already notified them.
Okay?
I just had a question. Election day, is there a plan?
I believe it's going to be the same as it was during the November elections. So people will come in here, do the vote, and head out that door.
Okay, but are people being, obviously, you can get a ballot ahead of time by requesting it,
Let me
but
ask
they're
you,
not sending them out,
I
right?
wonder if Elizabeth knows. Hey, Elizabeth?
Yeah,
Chris has a, sorry to catch you with your mouthful. Chris has a question on the elections. Do you know if, or maybe Heather, do you know what Kathy has set up for elections?
I know that you have to request an absentee ballot if they're not automatically mailing them like they did for November. You do have to request it if you haven't before.
Are they going to send an ad to that?
Open.
Yeah, they're waiting for them. They're at the printer right now, but they should be here, I think, at the end of the week.
They're here.
And, oh, they are here? And
Yep,
she'll be
they came in
mailing
today.
out. So, yep. But you do have to call and request, so 868-4421.
If you haven't in the past, so if you said in November that you wanted absentee ballot for the March election, you don't have to request it again.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
cool.
good to know.
Good. Thank you again.
Yep, that's all I had. Thank you.
I might add to that, that everybody should know that we're gonna have a joint body informational meeting on February 22nd. With the town. I guess we're gonna initiate it, start with ours, and then the town will break away. So if you have any questions about budgets or candidates, whatever, the informational meeting for both town and village is on the 22nd of February.
So I spoke with Elizabeth and I spoke with James and David. Basically, once the meeting starts, Elizabeth will give me the option to be a co-host, and then I'll share my screen. We'll go through our presentation. She'll take it back, and then the town will start theirs. Between her and I, we'll monitor who's coming in and who's raising their hand and all that stuff. We're going to figure out. We were supposed to look at that to see if it was easier to do a webinar.
yeah, I think I set it up as a meeting, but has it been warned with the link on it yet?
Yes.
Okay,
So I guess
so we'll just do a meeting and ask people to raise their hand and then we can get to them.
okay. So
Anything else? Reg, you got anything else?
just that we held our first vaccine clinic last week, Thursday, for 75 and older. We had I say we, but the Notch actually ran it through the health department, and they ran 90 people through. They're hoping to do the next one on the 18th, I believe it is, and they're hoping to do 190. So it actually went very smooth. I was impressed because I went to the one in St. Albans, and it was slower, it seemed like, for a larger space, but they seem to have it down pat, and they're probably learning from all the other glitches that happened around the state. The idea is to keep this location and to continue until we got a shot in everybody's arm. So
And have you heard if the supply is still being, are we still being shorted on the supply, or?
I have not heard that.
Governor said it was a little bit better.
Yeah.
And a couple of things.
You got a couple things?
I do.
Okay, you're up.
The village report, are they being mailed?
Yes, they just came in today.
Okay. And you know about the town report, Heather? Is it available? And how?
Elizabeth might know that because she sounds like she was in the office today.
I do know that they are not yet available. They will be distributed next week.
Where will they be able to be picked up?
But
Don't get me lying. I would say by the middle of next week. Hopefully they'll be Tuesday is my understanding. A week from, so the week, what would that be? The week of the 18th, we're closed, so that, what is that, the 19th?
19th is a Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would, check, I don't want to just say that they'll be ready on the 18th, the 19th and have people stream into the office and they're not. But sometime that week, I think they anticipate that Tuesday, but I would double check before everybody troops down to the office because we are closed. So,
Are they mailing them or?
no, they're taking them to commercial spaces, to like Mother Hubbard's and all the, a bunch of places around town.
Thank you.
Could we request some delivered here for us?
Oh, we can.
I can believe they dropped some off for you, so you
Okay.
can for you to get some.
Yeah,
Okay,
but the
thank you.
village office is closed, so people, they want it, they have to knock on the door.
Oh, right.
Be a store. Yeah, pick them up at a store or quick stop or something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is that Betsy got her hand up? Is that
No, it's my hand, sorry.
yours?
I'll move the cursor.
Anything else out in the Zoom world? Anybody like to say anything before we go into executive session? If not, thank you all for participating, and like Elizabeth, I'd like to repeat what Elizabeth said before, that we were happy to see as many people participating in the downtown scoping study. We'd like to have more participation all the time, and it turned out to be a real good meeting. So hopefully we'll get the misconceptions that came out after that meeting corrected and move on from here. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make the motion, we go into executive session at 7:40 to discuss tax account, real estate, and personnel.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to go into executive session to discuss real estate, personnel, and the tax account. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, those opposed? No? Okay. We are headed into executive session. Thank you, everyone. Okay, good. Okay, we just came out of executive session. We had three things to discuss, but two of the real estate and was just discussion. We were going to make a motion on one item that we talked about, was a tax account deal, and I think Adam would like to make a motion on that.
Ready? I make the motion for the tax collector, the Swanton tax collector, to open up an estate on a specific piece of property on the village's behalf as requested by the Swanton tax collector.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. This was a recommendation from our tax collector. We're just giving her the authority to go ahead with it. We've already had the discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. And we'll notify Betty tomorrow. So, I think that is about it, unless anybody else wants to say.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Anybody in the Zoom world like to say anything before we close? Okay. Well, thanks for participating. Our numbers are up from what they usually are non-Zoom. So I hope that's a positive flow. So thank you everyone for attending tonight, and stay in touch, and maybe we'll see you or hear from you on the 22nd. But that being said, I'll entertain a motion to close.
Adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn this regular meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees for February 8th, 2021. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. Good evening, everyone.